Students of class 11, today we will talk about law of demand. What is law of demand? See, the law of demand is written here. Other things remaining the same. Other things remaining the same means many other factors also affecting demand. Income of the consumer is affecting demand, directly affecting demand. Prices of related goods are also influencing demand. Taste and preference of the consumer also influencing demand. These are the other factors determining demand. Here we are assuming other things remaining the same. All those other factors are not changing. Then if we only consider price is the variable factor, if price rises, demand falls, and if price falls, demand rises. So there is an inverse relation between price and demand. If we consider the price-demand relation only, considering other factors are not changing, then this price-demand relation is the law of demand. Most important factor determining demand is considered price of the commodity, and price-demand relation is law of demand. Generally, when we go for purchasing any commodity, our first question to the seller is, what is the price of this commodity? So most important thing determining demand is price of the commodity. So we inquire first about the price, and we do observe there is an inverse relation between price and demand. If price of the commodity rises, demand falls. If price of the commodity falls, demand rises. This inverse relationship between price and demand may be exhibited by a demand schedule, or it may be represented by a demand curve. It's a graphical representation, and it is representation in tabular form. It is demand schedule. Demand schedule, what is demand schedule? Demand schedule is a two-column table. One column for price of the commodity, another column for demand for the commodity. When price, this schedule is exhibiting, if price falls from rupees 10 to rupees 5, demand for the commodity rises from 5 units to 10 units. Inverse relationship exhibited by this demand schedule, by this table, is a two-column table. From this schedule, we are getting some points which will be used to represent the inverse relationship graphically, and we will get the curve, demand curve from that point. So generally, demand represented on the x-axis. So this variable is x variable, demand is our x variable, and price represented in the y-axis. Price is our y variable. So the points are x, y means 5, 10 is the first point. 5x, 5 units demanded when price is rupees 10. So consumer is at point E1 when price is 10 and demand is 5, represented by the point E1. Now if price falls from 10 to 5, then when price is 5, demand becomes 10. Demand extends from 5 to 10. This price quantity combination, price 5, demand 10, represented by the point E2. Joining these 2 points, we are getting the demand curve DD dashed, a downward sloping demand curve. Because of inverse relationship between price and demand. Demand curve is always downward sloping. Now, the question is, we are talking about inverse relation between price and demand. Question is, why inverse relation? Why always these two variables are moving in opposite direction? This inverse relationship is explained by the neoclassical economists in terms of substitution effect and income effect. So two effects are operating simultaneously, and the result is a change in demand to the opposite direction to that of price. What is substitution effect? Whenever price of a commodity falls, commodity becomes relatively cheaper to the consumer in comparison to other commodities. And it is a natural tendency of the consumer to buy more of the relatively cheaper commodity. How will they buy more? Where from they manage the money? They will purchase lesser amount of the relatively dearer commodity. In this way, they will manage money, purchasing lesser amount of other commodity. Relatively dearer commodity will be purchased lesser amount. In this way, they will manage the money, and that money will be used to purchase more of the cheaper commodity. So, consumer is substituting the relatively cheaper commodity in place of relatively dearer one. If commodity X is cheaper, consumer is purchasing more of X, substituting X in place of Y. This is substitution effect. So when commodity is cheaper, relatively cheaper, because of a fall in price, due to substitution effect, always consumer is buying more. Demand goes to the opposite direction to that of price. This is substitution effect. Another effect is income effect. Now the question is, we have already assumed other things remaining the same. Within these other things, income is also within that other things. So if we have already assumed income is unchanged, where from the concept of income effect is coming? Yes, it is coming. Although money income is unchanged, our real income is changing due to change in price. Suppose price of a commodity is ₹5 and you are purchasing 4 units. So what is the expenditure? 5 is the price, units purchased 4, 5 into 4, 20 is the expenditure. Now if price falls from ₹5 to ₹4 and his consumer is purchasing 4 units like before, now what is the expenditure? Price has become 4, units purchased 4 like before, 4 into 4, 16 is the expenditure. So consumer is purchasing same amount, 4 units of the commodity, but earlier time expenditure was 20, now the expenditure is 16, ₹4 surplus in his hand. This surplus money is considered as real gain in income. So when consumer assumes this is a real gain in income due to fall in price, they will think, why should I purchase 4 units? I can purchase 1 more unit. This extra purchase, increased demand, is due to real gain in income. This is income effect. So when price falls, real income rises. Due to income effect, also consumer is buying more. So both the factors, substitution effect and income effect, simultaneously operating in same direction. Price has fallen, commodity has become cheaper. Due to substitution effect, consumer is buying more. Price has fallen, there is real gain in income. Due to real gain in income, due to positive income effect, consumer is purchasing more. Both the forces are insisting consumer to purchase more when price falls. So price falls, demand rises, inverse relationship holds good. This is the background of inverse relationship. This much today. Thank you all.